September 11, 2001 was one of the most devastating days in United States history. 19 Arab terrorists hijacked 4 U.S. airplanes, wishing to cause mass destruction upon New York City, the Pentagon, and Stony Creek Township, Pennsylvania. About 3,000 American citizens lost their lives in the attacks. My grandfather was the Westchester District Manager for the United States Postal Service on the day of the terror. The attacks of September 11, 2001 had a great impact on Peter J. Mancinelli because he needed to be quick and decisive when directing his employees. His decision would change his life forever. The horrors of the 9/11 attacks were unimaginable. First, one plane crashed into one of the Twin Towers in the morning. 20 minutes later, the other tower was destroyed, leaving both buildings in ruins. Desks, chairs, paper, and people flew out of the windows of burning skyscrapers. Donald Rumsfeld, Secretary of Defense at the time, called it a vicious, well-coordinated, massive attack against the United States of America. The citizens of America wondered who would perform such a horrific deed. Al-Qaeda, meaning the base in Arabic, is a loosely knit international terrorist organization that was led and established by Osama bin Laden. Bin Laden gathered thousands of members worldwide to join him in his reign of terror. In 1995, he addressed the United States' presence in Saudi Arabia, and 3 years later declared that members of Al-Qaeda had an obligation to kill as many Americans as possible. This attack needed to be addressed to the American public. George W. Bush was placed in an incredibly difficult position during these attacks. To respond to them, Bush televised a live speech that night to address his plans moving forward regarding terrorism. President Bush introduced the War on Terror, noting that it would be unlike any battle we have ever seen. He asked for the American people's patience, participation, and confidence. At the end of the speech, Bush stated 3 words which my grandfather recited numerous times throughout his life: God bless America. Peter J. Mancinelli was my grandfather. After being a member of the U.S. Air Force throughout his 20s, he attended college to become an employee of the United States Postal Service. He rose through the ranks and became district manager of Westchester. His humble, approachable nature was comforting to those who worked with him. He was incredibly passionate about everything he did. But of course, family always came first for Peter. He remained a true family man until his final breath in October 2005. The USPS prides itself on efficiency. My grandfather was proud to be part of this system. He loved his job, country, and family. For these reasons, 9/11 was a particularly difficult day. As news flashed across the TV screens of the Westchester Post Office, Peter Mancinelli had a choice to make: maintain the efficiency of the Postal Service or send his workers home. Though he was a loyal employee, the choice was obvious. Pete's final decision was to send his 7,800 employees home to be with their families in the midst of chaos and terror. He ignored orders, making a decision based upon his sound morals and risking being fired. Peter's character was unmatched, and for that he would be rewarded. After a day awaiting his fate, Peter received a call from his boss. He answered and was shocked with the outcome. He was thoroughly commended by his bosses, including the Postmaster General, for his decision. The next day, letters awaited him, thanking him for his efforts during the tragedy. After his death, the White Plains Post Office in New York was renamed the Peter J. Mancinelli Post Office. This incredible honor speaks to who my grandfather truly was, an unspoken hero. The most important 9/11 memorial to Peter was the introduction of the Heroes USA postage stamp. Peter was a large advocate for the stamp and was part of the ceremony in which the stamp was introduced. He and his employees wore a pin with the stamp design every day in remembrance of those who lost their lives. Peter was buried with his pin. September 11, 2001 was an incredibly important day for my family. Peter J. Mancinelli deserved to be recognized for his display of morals that day. On the day of Peter's funeral, as his casket was driven around the Westchester Post Office, hundreds of people lined up to pay their respects. This in essence defines his life. His passion and pure joy made those around him smile and love him. Reflecting on the day, Patrick Amade said, "It made you proud to be part of our family."